Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in our amazing universe. And welcome to another episode on the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. We're on the Inspired Choices Network. And as you could see, I'm not in my usual digs in my office, my home office in Encinitas, California. I'm actually on the road. I'm in Sedona, Arizona for probably the next week or so and doing some Dolores me time and just taking care of me right now, which sometimes could be a full-time job. And I chuckle about that because how many of you also think that you could be a full-time job as well? Well, it's the truth. And so, what we're going to talk about today is radical self acceptance, loving yourself just as you are. And you know what? This is a question that I want you all to ponder. What if the key to happiness isn't changing who you are, but embracing yourself fully? I feel that it's so much easier to accept and love yourself for who you are and go from that point and then make the changes that you want to do for yourself. Um, you know, there's a difference between self-improvement and self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is just allowing yourself and accepting yourself for everything that you are, whereas self-improvement is like doing things to improve yourself. And maybe it's like, you know, getting better at communicating or getting better at taking care of yourself. Those are like two examples of what self-improvement might be or look at, or what you might look at. You know, I think there's so much going on in our world and there's so much noise in our external environment. And inclusive of that noise is like, you know, what society deems is what you should and shouldn't be do. And, you know, people feed on the external validation for their true self-worth. And that's just, you know, thank God that paradigm is dissolving before our eyes because really the external stuff really does not justify or validate who you truly are. Somehow we have, you know, taken that on as our truth when in essence it's really not. So I'm hoping that, you know, by the end of our episode today that you'll have some really good tools and some insight as to why there's, you know, we have our barriers to self-acceptance and what you may be able to do personally to shift that or even embrace what is going on within your world right now and use that as a foundation as you move forward on your personal growth journey. So, you know, let's talk about some of the barriers to self-acceptance. You know, a lot of times it's a lot of self-judgment. Let's put it this way, we are really good at beating ourselves up, folks. You know, what we say in the quiet of our mind to ourselves is not very pretty sometimes. And once you become aware that you're doing it, this is where you're able to shift that and change that. When we have a lot of layers of self-judgment, maybe we are, you know, listening to the inner critics, and you know, our inner critics could be anybody from our parents, society, our ancestors, our grandparents, our great grandparents. And a lot of it's projection onto you, and you've taken it on as your truth, when in essence, those projections from those people who were projecting are really the truth about who those people truly are. Okay. So let me see if I could clarify that. When we project on other people, we like energetically vomit all the stuff that we are onto the other person, hoping that the other person will take it on as their truth and clean it up for us. And remember, a lot of this is happening on an unconscious level. So there's not the awareness that this is actually happening. Now, once you become awake and aware that this is actually happening, you're able to see, it's very telling of what's going on in people's lives. And if they're projecting and not realizing what they're doing, it's very telling about how that person feels about themselves. Okay. It's not our job to fix it for other people. Okay. We have enough, we're a full-time job ourselves. We don't need to take on anybody else's bullshit. Okay. So maybe we've had other past wounds or limiting beliefs, like we aren't worth it, or we've been told by other people. And, we have this really strong comparison culture out there where, everybody's got to keep up with this person or the latest trend. And, and that's kind of scary, because it's almost like you're giving your power and your happiness away to something outside of yourself, instead of trying to come within and find that happiness within yourself. Okay. And accepting yourself just as you are. And we talked about like the mind body connection. That is so essential. The mind body connection is where your brain, your heart brain, and your gut brain, we're going to call it the mind body gut connection. They're all aligned because they all have brains, and they all kind of have their own consciousness. And it's about melding all of those together so they play nicely in the sandbox. When we have, when we are wounded emotionally, it also impacts our physical body. Okay. So oftentimes when we get triggered, okay, something gets our attention and really gets us fired off and pissed off. It's like usually you'll have a somatic response in your body someplace. Maybe it's you feeling it in your chest or your gut, like your belly, your solar plexus. And usually when those somatic responses are there, it's like your body has taken one for the team, basically, if you want to call it that. So when you're able to feel what that essence is, like maybe you feel like you got gut punched, just feel what that feels like, and just be with that, and just flood that area with so much love and appreciation and compassion. And when we start doing that, and self-soothing and self-nurturing, it starts to dissipate. The intensity of that somatic response kind of lessens or even disappears. Maybe it moves to a different area in your body. So you go to the different area of your body and you just go and love yourself up and appreciate that. And maybe finally it dissipates. What is actually happening is you are calling back parts of who you are that have been fractured off at an earlier time and place within your life, or maybe in a past lifetime, might be a past lifetime hangover. And our natural tendency when something is painful is just to keep it and push it at bay and just stay out of my space. I don't want to deal with you. But in essence, what really needs to happen, it needs to be called back to us, and it wants to come back to us. But we put the brakes on and resist that happening. It's a part of our self, our soul, that got fractured off in another time and place, that is kind of time locked, landlocked in another time and place, and it's unconsciously running the show for you. So this is a real effective way to get parts of yourself back to you. So in the mind body connection, you're able to reintegrate that so you could become more complete and whole, and have a lot more love, acceptance, and appreciation for yourself as well. So, it's not about, blaming other people or, you know, uh, it's about taking ownership. Remember, and I talk about this a lot, we're here on planet Earth to learn. We're here to learn about amazing things and have growth and allow our souls to grow at a very deep and profound level. And, sometimes we label these bad things that, we label them bad, but they're actually educational opportunities. They're opportunities to learn and grow. They're opportunities to advance your soul. And we're all here on a mission to become ascended eventually. Some of us are on a quicker bullet, straight bullet path, and some people are on a meandering one, and some people are still sleeping. So it's all beautiful in the orchestration of this tapestry of humanity. So some of the tools that I think are really important, and we're going to go into a little more detail in our next segment, but it's about the power of self-awareness and the things that we could do to strengthen our self-love, like doing mindfulness, affirmation, gratitude, and of course, setting healthy boundaries and honoring your needs without guilt or trying to kowtow to please everybody. And just really, truly embracing your imperfection. It's like your ability to and your resilience to turn those labeled flaws into strengths, okay? Because they're really not flaws. They're just opportunities for us to grow and to learn at a very deep level. And it's making you who you are. It's contributing to the person you are in this very moment, okay? So many of us are in our 40s, 50s, 60s, almost 70s, and we've had, decades in, maybe a couple lifetimes worth of experiences. And, they have actually contributed to who we are today. And that's a beautiful thing because, looking back on my life, yes, there was some really deep dips and high highs and, bumps in the road and obstacles. And looking back as I reflect back on my life, yeah, some of them really smarted. And I see how all those things have contributed to where I am right now. And you know what? I really wouldn't change any of it because I'm really enjoying my life and really stepping into who I am, even at my ripe old age of being in my 60s. So invite you to embrace this and just, with the curiosity of a child, just learn from what you're experiencing. Be teachable. Um, I love the word humble because it's just when you think you know it all, that's when you're in trouble because the universe will send you an opportunity to prove otherwise. So it's about being humble and realizing that, I'm on my path, I'm learning to grow, and that everybody is on their path and learning to grow as well. So we need to have compassion for other people, but most importantly, having some self-compassion for ourselves. So we're getting ready to go on our first break, and you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer on the road in Sedona.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Ready to break free from complacency? Welcome to I'm Awake, Now What? Your monthly invitation to embrace conscious living. If you've been feeling lost or stagnant, this is your chance to awaken your purpose. Join our transformative conscious wake-up office hours every month for guidance and self-discovery. Experience the power of clarity and focus as you navigate towards holistic healing and empowerment. Don't just survive, thrive. Sign up now and unlock a wealth of benefits, including enhanced well-being, stress reduction, emotional healing, and connection. It's time to ignite the flames of purpose within and start your journey to a fulfilling life.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we've been talking about radical self-acceptance today. And, before we went on break, we were talking about how a lot of times we focus so much on the external to get our validation. And I think this is one of those things that we're in a process of shifting, because even though you focus on the external for information, that's not your information. It's not your truth. When you tap into your inner wisdom and your inner knowing, you're going to gain your truth and wisdom that's right for you. So, let's circle back and just talk about some of the barriers to self-acceptance. And, we briefly talked about being programmed by our parents. A lot of times it happens through, in our childhood. And, with external influences like your teachers, societal expectations. And, sometimes we have internalized the message that we have to be perfect in order to be loved, or success defines your worth. And, this is how we establish our inner critic. Okay. It could be a parent voice that you hear, or society's voice, or, even, your teacher. A lot of times our culture and generational stuff comes play into this, where it's just automatically projected onto us from generation to generation. Maybe we have the fear of rejection that drives our self-criticism. We have lots of conversations within our head by ourselves. And, how many of you out there have a tendency to beat yourself up? Okay, good. Thank you for showing your hands. I think more of us have this in common than not. So when we fear rejection, we try to shapeshift and morph into something sometimes that we are not. And that could lead into a lot of harsh self-judgment as well, because you're not really living your true authentic self and not honoring that. And recognizing, like I said, circling back, it's like, whose voice are you really hearing in there? Oftentimes it might be your parents. Oh my God, that scary thought. But anyway, at least you have a name for it and a label. So now you could work with it better. So our past experience and failure and trauma can leave, lasting imprints on our psyche. And when we have unresolved childhood issues, this plays a big part. And there's a lot of literature out there now. And I love, it's called ACEs, Acute Childhood Experiences. And this was research that was done in the 1990s, way ahead of its time, but very ever. And they're finding that when you have childhood traumas, they definitely have a higher impact and correlation to the type of disease, physical ailments that you're probably going to acquire in your lifetime. So that's something to look at as well. So, let's talk about some tools that we could use to reframe our negative self-talk, okay? So let's say, you recognize your inner critic. And like we always say on my show is like self-awareness is like the foundational piece of one of the foundational pillars of good self-care, because once you are aware, you have more choices instead of going into react mode. So, I invite you, if you start realizing that you're starting to be really critical of yourself or being really hard on yourself, pay attention to that dialogue and what words do you use when speaking to yourself. Is it like I'm not good enough, or I always mess up, or I'll never be as successful as them? Whatever they are, um, these are learned patterns and they could be rewired, which is great. So, when you come up with a negative, self-talk, like such as I'm not good enough, challenge that automatic thought by saying, is this thought true? Or would I say this to a friend? And maybe ponder this: what's a more compassionate way to view the situation? So for an example, instead of I failed, so I must be a failure, try saying failure is a part of growth. This is just one step on my journey. Feels a lot different. It feels more compassionate. And this is what we really need to start bathing ourselves in, is more self-compassion. We have a tendency to be judging and critical quite a bit. And it all starts with us first, believe it or not. It's the essence of who we are, okay? When Let's see if I could explain this well. If you see humanity as this big pool of water, as collective consciousness, okay, a big body of water, and you know what happens when we throw a pebble into a pond? It ripples out and it affects every part of that pond, basically. So when we are judging and criticizing ourselves, it's like we drop that pebble of judging and criticizing ourselves into the pond of collective consciousness, and it ripples out. It's no surprise to me that we are in the state that we're in this day and age, with so much judging and criticizing externally, because it really all starts with us first. So we can make an impact and a change by looking at the way we talk to ourselves. So when we shift from self-judgment to self-compassion, we replace self-criticism with gentle encouragement, like I'm learning and I give myself grace. Or what you could also just focus on is the word self-compassion itself. If you don't really know what that is, the word has a higher frequency and vibration than judging and criticizing yourself. So automatically, when you focus on a word that's a higher vibrating word, you cannot not shift. So you are shifting yourself by the frequency and the energy of the words. Okay. It's more of a feel thing, yet it's very effective, and it actually allows you to move through things rather quickly than having to take a long time to do that. So shifting is very quick. Um, Remember just to give yourself grace, and, you know, and focus on the word self-compassion. There's nothing more beautiful than that. And that essence of self-compassion, you're going to drop that pebble into collective consciousness, and it's going to ripple out and affect people as well. So you do make a difference in other people's lives and in the world. And it starts with you first. So some of the things that you can do on a daily basis is, um, you know, affirmations are great. Just make sure that they are focusing on you right now, not in the future or the past, because all that really matters is right here, right now. Um, you could say, I am worthy just as I am. I choose to embrace my authentic self. I deserve love, kindness, and compassion, especially from myself. And just say them daily and loudly. And this might be a challenge for somebody, but say it to yourself in front of the mirror, because this will really be telling for you. And if you find that difficult to do, I invite you to push yourself and continue to do that, and look at yourself look at your eyes in the mirror with yourself. Mindfulness is being present with yourself. And we talk a lot about mindfulness on my show, because I feel that that's awareness and mindfulness are two of the many foundational pieces that are essential to you becoming your own best friend, but also to you becoming more aligned with who you are as a sovereign being. When you're mindful, you are actually in the present moment. We've all had those fleeting moments where you lose all sense of time and place. You get so wrapped up in a project that hours go by and you feel like it's only been 5 or 10 minutes. You know what I'm talking about. So mindful activity is anything that's going to get you into timelessness. And when you're in timelessness, you're actually in the present moment. You're right here, right now. So that could be defined as anything from, sitting in formal meditation, a lotus position, chanting Om, to going out in nature, doing a craft. If you're an art, doing an art project or something like that, or even if you're an athlete, just going for a run or doing your sport. It's anything that's going to allow you to lose all sense of time and to be fully present within yourself. So, those things are essential. I think the other thing too is just being grateful. Even though we're in interesting times in our evolution and humanity, there's still a lot to be grateful for. So focus on the abundance that we have on our earth and the abundance that you have in your life. And just know that the more you focus on gratitude and being grateful for the things you have, the more and more things are going to come into your life that you're going to be grateful for. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about is setting healthy boundaries. And I'm just going to run over a little bit, but I really needed to share this story because, I'm on vacation and I'm staying in my timeshare. And for those people who have timeshares, you know what kind of a challenge that could be, because they always try to upsell you, and and they can't understand why you don't want the free gift. And it's about boundaries. So I really had to set some really firm boundaries with them, because they were trying to lure me in to go, and I said, I'm not interested in being sold to. And, well, no, it's not a hard no. I said, no, you don't understand. I am not interested in going. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the offer, but I'm not interested in receiving a free gift or anything of that sort. Well, they just kept going. They were trying to guilt me and shame me into things. And it was just like, to me, it was highly disrespectful because I told them what I wanted and they weren't listening to me. So boundaries are essential for self-acceptance. When you set boundaries, you're going to get challenged just like I did. And I said, it's my choice whether or not to go. So don't, end a conversation. So, it's the way you deliver. And I was very polite and respectful, but obviously they weren't that way to me because they were really trying to try all angles of guilt, shaming, and whatever. And obviously it didn't work because I didn't go. And it's just like, it's okay to say no and not, and do it without, having to wade through the guilt, shame, and everything else. They're obviously not honoring who you are. So anyway, enough of that. We're going to go on our next break. And when we come back, we're going to put it all together into do a guided meditation that's going to allow you to experience some self-acceptance. So you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're talking about radical self-acceptance. So stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Ready to break free from complacency? Welcome to I'm Awake, Now What? Your monthly invitation to embrace conscious living. If you've been feeling lost or stagnant, this is your chance to awaken your purpose. Join our transformative conscious wake-up office hours every month for guidance and self-discovery. Experience the power of clarity and focus as you navigate towards holistic healing and empowerment. Don't just survive, thrive. Sign up now and unlock a wealth of benefits, including enhanced well-being, stress reduction, emotional healing, and connection. It's time to ignite the flames of purpose within and start your journey to a fulfilling life.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, live from Sedona, Arizona. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we've been talking about radical self-acceptance today on our show. And, how many times we have the inner critic that goes constantly like, I want to say a hamster in a hamster wheel that's, keeping in inventory, talking to you, and you hear like a voice that it sounds foreign to you, or maybe not. Maybe it's it's your mother or father or your teacher talking to you and just criticizing and judging you. We're at a time where it's like the gig's up. We don't do that anymore. And it's really about us accepting ourselves and having lots of self-compassion, a whopping dose of self-compassion for ourselves, which the world really needs more and more of that right now, and each one of us individually as well. So, before break, we also talked about perfectionism and self-acceptance and, things we could say to ourselves that question what we are really feeling and just taking a deep dive into self-compassion. So, what I'd like to do for you all is let's do a guided meditation. And it is going to be about strengthening self-love. So I just invite you to find a nice quiet place where you won't be disturbed for about 6 or 7 minutes, and just allow yourself to relax. So welcome to this guided meditation for strengthening self-love. I invite you to find a quiet and comfortable place where you won't be disturbed. You may either sit or lie down in a relaxed position and gently close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and slowly exhale. And just let go of any tension in your body. And with each breath, allow yourself to sink deeper into this moment of peace, self-acceptance, and self-compassion. Now, bring your awareness to your breath. Breathe in deeply and exhale slowly. Imagine a warm golden light surrounding you, a light of pure love and acceptance. With each inhale, breathe in kindness and compassion. With each exhale, release any self-doubt, self-judgment, or negativity you've been carrying. Feel yourself becoming lighter, more open, more at peace. Now, gently place your hand over your heart and feel the warmth of your touch, the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. This is the core of who you are. Strong, beautiful. As you continue to breathe, silently and softly repeat these affirmations. I am worthy of love just as I am. I honor and accept myself fully. I choose to treat myself with kindness and compassion. I am enough. Let these words sink deep into your heart. With each repetition, feel your love for yourself growing stronger. Imagine this love expanding, filling your entire body with warmth and light. Now, picture yourself standing in front of a mirror. See your reflection looking back at you, not with judgment, but with unconditional love. You are safe. You are whole, and you are deeply loved. If any negative thoughts arise, acknowledge them gently and let them go like leaves floating down a stream. You are here to embrace yourself fully, just as you are in this moment. Take another deep breath in and exhale any remaining tension. Feel a deep sense of peace washing over you. Slowly bring your awareness back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Carry this feeling of self-love with you throughout the day. Know that you can return to this space of acceptance anytime you need it. You are worthy. You are loved. And you are enough. Well, welcome back, everybody. I always love the quiet and the peacefulness after a meditation. So we're going to be going on our next break right now. And you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And we've been talking about radical self-acceptance, loving yourself as you are today on our show. And when we return, we'll just wrap it up and have some closing thoughts. See you soon.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Ready to break free from complacency? Welcome to I'm Awake, Now What? Your monthly invitation to embrace conscious living. If you've been feeling lost or stagnant, this is your chance to awaken your purpose. Join our transformative conscious wake-up office hours every month for guidance and self-discovery. Experience the power of clarity and focus as you navigate towards holistic healing and empowerment. Don't just survive, thrive. Sign up now and unlock a wealth of benefits, including enhanced well-being, stress reduction, emotional healing, and connection. It's time to ignite the flames of purpose within and start your journey to a fulfilling life.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we've been talking about, we've been talking about radical self-acceptance today on our show. And we talked a little bit about what self-acceptance is and is not. In some way, would embrace more self-acceptance to ourselves in our lives, but also we did a really delicious guided meditation. So I invite you to go back and listen to that again, and anytime that you need to. I wanted to circle back and talk about turning imperfection, embracing imperfection and turning flaw. Sometimes this might be good, food for thought for some people. When we reframe our flaws as unique traits, like for an example, people say that you're just too sensitive. No, you have deep empathy and understanding. That's a gift. That really is a gift. And especially in a world where that seems to be lacking as of late. Maybe you've been, one of your flaws is overthinking. Equals thoughtfulness and thorough decision making. You're not overthinking, you're just gathering information and research. And sometimes your flaw may be, you think you have a flaw of introversion. In essence, you probably, and self-awareness instead of being quiet. It's like you probably more is going on with you than a lot of people think. So these are some things just to think about and to embrace and try on to see if it fits well for you. Just remember, being authentic is just impossible. It's not impossible, very possible. The most magnetic people are those who fully embrace themselves. And when you own your imperfections, you create space for deeper connections and self-empowerment. You also give permission to other people to show up, in all their glory as well, too. You have no idea how this affects you. So what I really want to talk about here is some takeaways from today's show. And our show was Radical Self-Acceptance, Loving Yourself as You Are. Remember, self-acceptance is the foundation for inner peace. True happiness begins when you stop resisting who you are and embrace yourself fully. Flaws, as we label them, and all. Remember that your inner critic is learned, not truth. The judgment we carry often comes from societal conditionings, past wounds, and comparison culture. Rewriting this narrative is key to self-love. It's about moving from the external to the internal. Okay. The mind-body connection, the mind-body-gut connection is powerful. Emotional wounds can manifest in physical discomfort. By practicing self-love and self-compassion, we create space for healing on all levels. Boundaries are acts of self-respect. Honoring your needs without guilt reinforces your self-worth and strengthens your sense of self. Embracing imperfection leads to freedom. Letting go of unrealistic expectations allows you to show up more authentically, love yourself unconditionally, and live with greater confidence. And that's always a good thing, I feel. So, some closing thoughts. Radical self-acceptance isn't about becoming someone different. It's about recognizing that you are already enough. In fact, you are plenty. When you shift from self-judgment to self-love, you free yourself from the weight of external expectations and step into your true power. The journey of self-acceptance is ongoing, but every moment of self-kindness moves you closer to inner peace. And we all could use more of that in our lives. So as you move forward, remember to be patient and gentle with yourself. Choose love over criticism, gratitude over comparison, and authenticity over perfection. You deserve to embrace yourself fully, just as you are. And I'm going to leave you with this quote from the Buddha. I love Buddha. In fact, I rescue Buddhas. I have Buddhas all over my yard, my house, everywhere. I just love the essence of Buddha. So Buddha says, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. So thanks for listening to our show today. And, as you've probably heard through the infomercials, I have a monthly community called I'm Awake Now What, where we talk about all things spiritual awakening. And it's really geared for people who have woken up spiritually and don't really know what to do. Maybe they feel lost, or they have lost their inner compass. And this is hopefully to guide you back on your path and to give you tools and resources so that you can create the life that you're supposed to have. We meet weekly on a live Zoom call. I partnered with my good friend Cozy Stankaitis, who is a body talk practitioner. And we work with clients, and it's a monthly membership program. It's a community, and we have resources, healing, and support that we offer to anybody who's interested. So you can learn more about this by going to my website, drdoloresfazino.com, and you'll see a tab that says, I'm Awake Now What? Just follow the prompts for that and explore that to see if that's a good fit for you. We would love to have you as part of our tribe. So next week on the Dr. Dolores Show, we're going to talk about inner child healing, the keys to your authentic self. And we talked about self-acceptance this past week. And inner child healing, I feel, is really essential because many of us have experienced things in our lives, and we talked a little bit about this, where we get landlocked in another time and place, and we have parts of our soul that fragments off. And in essence, it's like our parts of our child, those fragments are our inner children that are lost in another time and place and want to come back home to us. So see you next week. And I just want you to know that you're loved, appreciated, and valued. And just remember that you are worth it. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, Remember to be kind to yourself and create your best life. You are worth it.